This week, we're really happy to have with us Darryl Arrington from Invincive Labs. So this is 1 Million Cups for Richmond. We're always really happy to thank our sponsors, Open Trellis, Laborum Edge, the Honor Loan Program, and BCU. And so I'm just going to run through a few introductory slides here. I think pretty much everyone here on the call today has been here at least once before. But just for the sake of those who may be watching after the fact, the mission of 1 Million Cups is really all about education and resources connection for people who are starting businesses. And being an entrepreneur can be at times really difficult. And so we exist to help each other as we're starting up different businesses. So we've been involved here with 1 Million Cups in Richmond over the last 6 years. And now when we look nationally, there's 150 communities, so it's grown significantly, and there's an estimated 1,000 organizers around the country. So we love 1 Million Cups because we're intentionally inclusive. We've been run by the community and for the community. That's kind of the design of the whole thing, and it's really just about entrepreneurs helping each other. So no one is coming in pitching for money or pitching for sales. It's more about authentic connections and just seeing what feedback we can give each other or what helpful connections we can provide each other. Ian also gave us a few additional stats here, which I think are also really helpful, kind of hot off the presses from Kaufman Foundation. So 113,000 people now have attended 1 Million Cups events, and about 2/3 of the people who are coming are interested because of the community engagement aspect. And it says here about 64% are attending to connect with other entrepreneurs and to learn from other entrepreneurs. So we're really hitting the mark there in terms of the whole purpose. So this is a little footprint of what it looks like for 1 Million Cups around the Southeast region. There's plenty of different sites. And of course, we're happy to be leading the initiative here from Richmond. There's also a fairly significant team of people who help organize 1 Million Cups. So myself and Ian, John Marin is on the line as well. John Brew is here. Also Michael Time, Liz Romero, and Ken Smither. So if you happen to know anyone who's interested in presenting, getting some feedback, having a little bit of promotion around their business, as well as some input and assistance from other entrepreneurs, they're more than welcome to present. I think currently we're lining up people for August. So feel free to point them in the right direction with 1millioncups.com/Richmond. And so if folks would like to connect with us on social media, there's loads of ways to do that. Feel free to drop your email in the chat window if you like, and Ian can get you a copy of these slides, and we can make sure that you are able to follow along with us on social. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to my friend Darryl Arrington. Hey, Darryl, good morning.
Sorry, I was muted. How's it going, Dale? How is it going, guys? Can you hear me okay?
We can, loud and clear. It's going really well, man. Thanks for coming in today to walk us through what's happening around your shop. And I mentioned to a few people that we've known each other for the last 6 years, right? It was back in 2015, we started connecting with each other, talking, and just kind of, everything entrepreneurship, everything social impact, the city, thinking big, and then drilling down to the details. And it's always good conversations with Darryl. Anyone, by the way, if anyone has an opportunity to meet with Darryl, and Darryl's bringing some people with him, those people that he's bringing to the table are going to have some really deep insights. So it's always good conversations, man.
Oh, appreciate that so much. Okay, so how do you want to do this? I think I prepared a presentation. Am I able to share my screen?
Yes, you are, Darryl.
Awesome.
We're
Thank
good to
you,
go.
Ian.
Yeah, Ian's like in the control tower. He keeps us all on track, man. Thank
Yeah,
God for Ian.
I know. All right. So now share my, I'm gonna use this. Yeah. All right. Can everyone see my screen okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So one moment. All right. So hello everyone. I'm Darryl Arrington, and I'm the co-owner of Inventive Labs, presenting our newest service called Stride. At Inventive Labs, we utilize our experience in technology and online marketing to strengthen the fluidity between businesses and their end users. For modern businesses, the need for a well-represented online presence is paramount for longevity and growth within any industry. The biggest challenge that we've identified is that website development can be time consuming for the ambitious entrepreneur who is able to build and maintain their own website, and costly for the non-technical business owners. In fact, the average agency cost of web development is between $3,000 to $30,000, not to mention the cost of continuous support. Um, Outdated websites get infected with malware, and websites that are not maintained properly will not rank well on Google or any search engine. Ooh, okay. With Stride, entrepreneurs can enjoy website design, maintenance, and consistent online optimization, starting as low as $80 per month until the end of July. We have a special going on. Stride was created to help the average entrepreneur become more equipped for the ever-changing technology-driven society that we all live in. We are we are the dedicated technical support that many businesses are missing. At the very least, you should be confident that your website is optimized for organic traffic and a smooth user experience. So here are a few statistics to be aware of. Studies have shown that 70 to 80% of potential customers will research a company's website before making a purchase. That's with 1.7 billion people shopping online last year. Inc. magazine recently stated that a shocking half of small businesses in the US do not even own a website, which is very interesting. What's also interesting is that last year, 51% of small business owners experienced increased online interactions with their clients, with 36% of them moving their entire business online. So for those who already own a website, the big question is, how do I get people to my website? The short answer to that is the usefulness and consistency of your content is directly related to the flow of traffic your website receives, because most people are seeking answers to validate their future purchases. Businesses are now becoming online resources for people's real-time questions, gaining new customers as a result. With Stride plans, you can reimagine the potential of your business's ability to create long-lasting customers and reliable online experiences. We want to reawaken the entrepreneurial spirit by giving them the tools and courage to stride within any industry. I'd like to end on this last note, and addressing the entrepreneurs who consider themselves just small business owners. I want to challenge you all to shift from a small business mindset to a purpose-driven mindset, because small businesses can create large impact. Thank you.
Darryl, thanks so much for walking us through that. I think there are some folks here in the meeting who have a lot of experience working with different obviously with their own company's websites, or, everyone's visiting other websites all the time. I know there's also some deep expertise around the Zoom room here in terms of driving traffic to websites. So let's just kind of start from the basic, right? So if someone comes into you and says, hey, Darryl, I love what you're doing. This looks awesome. But I don't even have a website. Where do you start, and what does that customer journey look like for them?
Okay, yeah, that's a great question, Dale. So the customer journey process basically starts with a few questions around what type of website you would like, what types of websites you've seen before, of your actual business model, what types of user engagements are important. And then we move from getting all of the basic details of your business and your interests and dislikes. And then we move directly into the design phase. So we go from the research, design, and development phase with everything. So once we get into the design phase, we'll be able to, the person without the website will be able to interact directly with the developers to get the exact design that they are looking for. And then once everything has been solidified on that front, then the development starts. And typically, because we're using WordPress for the development, it typically will not take more than a month for the actual website to be finished. A lot of times it would only take about 2 weeks for that to happen. So that's the process.
Awesome. All right, cool. Next question. Ian, what do you have?
All right. Well, first and foremost, thank you, Darryl, for presenting. It's nice to see you again.
Yeah, same here.
So my question is, have you and Alicia faced some barriers? And if so, would you mind sharing?
Yeah, so I think starting off, a lot of the barriers were in communication. So, with any new software, because we have a platform that's included, there will be some bugs, and communication will slow down the production of anything. But since then, we've been able to work through those and find solutions for that. So now our clients are happier, and things are moving nice and smooth. So thank you for the question.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for that. It looks like I think John Marin has the next question. Go ahead, John.
Hey, Darryl. So I work with a digital marketing agency, or my business partner and I have a digital marketing agency. And especially when it comes to web design and development, there can be a lot of, like you said, communication is really key when you're building a site, right? Especially if it's someone who maybe doesn't have a lot of experience. They might not even know to ask certain questions or talk about certain things from the business owner perspective, right? What have you seen as kind of maybe like the biggest thing that you go, we need to make sure we really explain this, because this is oftentimes something that a customer might assume that we understand or know about their business or the design, but it really takes a lot more time and effort to make sure that like we get this piece right so that we end with the product that they're looking for.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So what we found is most people are visual. So regardless of how complex it might be, it always can be broken down and turned into even an image. So when it comes to getting a clear understanding of what clients need, we actually use software that basically allows them to engage us directly on the website. So if they want a button to be a different color, or even the font change, or anything on the website, they can go directly to that element and ask for specifics. And then we are able to engage them directly on the website as well. So
Nice. All right. Yeah, that's awesome.
thank you. Thank you.
So, Darryl, I was just gonna take us to some of my thinking around Lean Stack and your business model, right? So if I understand correctly, small business owners have a problem in that, you know, like all of us, we need more sales. We want more sales. We're always looking to connect with new clients, new customers. We know that having a web presence is necessary. We know that it's going to take some investment to have a decent page or at least a landing page and to drive traffic to it. So you're providing a solution that's a little bit differentiated relative to the competition. And so there's a lot of design agencies out there that do lots of different things. Can you talk a little bit about how the Stride program is different than most web design agency work?
So yeah, it's very interesting because from a very nascent stages of my entrepreneurship journey, I've always been a proponent of differentiation versus competition. And if you can't beat them, then join them, you know? So what's really unique about Stride is that it can be used as a resource for agencies also. So our affordable pricing can be used directly by any agency, and they can bring on their clients, and they can charge their own price, and our price will stay the same. So they can keep their business model, even having a sign-on fee to start, and also, you know, higher prices. So, and then the best thing about it is they can continue their normal business, and basically won't even have to fully have to manage other sorry, that's my daughter.
No worries.
And won't have to manage these other clients, but they also now they have this other revenue stream. So we're actually working with other agencies, and you know, seeing how we can make the community more robust, and just give the best options to clients, because like I said, small businesses should be thinking like larger businesses. And one of the barriers to actually even getting there a lot of times is their website. You know, sometimes, a lot of times, you know, a business owner would just, you know, kind of postpone certain things when it comes to web development. Their whole dream can have a 1 year, 2 year hiatus because of like exorbitant costs when it comes to their technical needs. And we're just trying to bridge the gap so that, you know, we can have more innovators and you know, problem solvers in the world.
Awesome. Well, I saw that, and specifically around this point of differentiation, right? Because I know that by talking with you, and I know where you're coming from as a Richmond local, you're always thinking about how can we help more businesses that are just like around the community grow and thrive. And you know from your experience that a part of that about having an online presence. So can you talk a little bit about some of the challenges that people face as they're launching into the digital world? And after that, I want to bring in John Brew's question as well, which was also about, you know, how you're different than some of the other agencies.
Okay. Oh, so the first is about the challenges that we're
Yeah,
facing.
just what you see, you know, you're right there in Jackson Ward. Like, what are the challenges that you see from your street corner when people are saying, "Hey, Darryl, I got this great idea. I know I need to get a website up. I'm going to do this business or that business." What are the main challenges that you see?
Yeah, the main thing is the financial barrier. Like even you know, the mom and pop shops around the street who you know, who especially due to the COVID are facing some challenges. And
Mhm.
you know, like I sat down with with an ice cream shop about a couple of months ago, and we had some amazing conversation. And at this time, we were not offering what we're offering now. So when I gave her the price of everything, everything just stopped. You know, I just seen the confidence in her face just kind of just fade. You know, and
Mhm.
you know, something as important as a website, it shouldn't be that difficult to have the services that we provide. You know, we have partners that can make this very cost effective for us, but also efficient. And that's mostly what entrepreneurs need. You know, they need to know that their website is up, and when people go to it, they're not experiencing any downtime or any bad experiences, you know. So as an entrepreneur, a lot of times if you're not technical, you just want to run your shop, you know, and you want to make sure that when someone presses the pay button, the money goes directly to where it's supposed to go. And you know, it shouldn't cost a lot of money to do that. So and then the next
Sure.
question
So
was
can you, yeah, so yeah, we're gonna get to John's next question, but can you just give us the pricing? What does that look like for a typical client?
so we start out with $80 plans. So the $80 plans will include basically the web design, the security. It includes the monthly, the maintenance, the updates that you need, hosting, email, the works for $80 a month. You know, and right now we're running a special to whereas typically it will cost $339 or $35 for the sign-on fee, and then the $80 a month. But now for the month of July, there is no fee. And we also are increasing our lowest price to $100, and everything is moving up $20 actually. So this is the optimal time to kind of jump in as we're receiving a lot of traction. But the highest price right now is $150, and that includes you can get a community-based website. You can build an intranet. You can have the e-commerce features, and actually, our plan for $120 comes with the e-commerce support and everything else with the security and even more updates per month. So the updates are tiered as well, the amount of updates that you can get per month. But what we've seen so far is, wow, my website is up fast and it works, and the reviews speak for themselves so far. So
That's, yeah, that's awesome. And anybody who wants to check out your website, they can check out Invincive Labs, or they can check out Stride Plans, right?
yep, strideplans.com. You can
Okay,
check out that more. Yep.
awesome. So I know John Brew had a question as well, just about the difference with competitors. John, did you want to jump in?
Yeah, sure, Dale. I'll be glad to jump in. And I think you've started to answer these questions. So, but basically, I understood the problem pretty well.
John, I think you break. I can't hear you anymore.
Hey, John, yeah, you broke up on us there, John. Let me just go ahead and read out the question he typed in the chat, and then Darryl, that'll give you a chance to respond to this one. So he was saying, thanks for sharing. I think you did a good job highlighting the need for small businesses to have a website. and to have a site that is optimized. So when we're talking about optimized there, I think we're talking about search engine optimization and what it takes to get conversion from, just actually having the site to getting site visitors, and then capturing email addresses as well for future email campaigns and so forth. So his question was, I'd like to hear more about how you provide the best solution for your clients. And it sounds like you've been answering a lot of that already. Is there anything else that potential clients should know about what you're doing?
I think the biggest thing is a lot of times when people go to like a web agency or entrepreneur, they go to them for a specific reason, and a lot of times they don't know exactly what they need, and the agency won't always articulate what their best interests are, and also the the smaller entrepreneurs, they're getting the job in, and they're completing the task, and they're moving on. A lot of the times there's this whole moving on thing. Whereas, I understand from a business standpoint, whereas, you finish the job, and, the next job comes, and then you complete that job. And then sometimes there is some communications when there are things that are needed. But when you move away from your client, or when the client no longer is receiving support, there are a lot of things that can happen, like malware or bugs. But mainly when we're talking about optimizing your website, we have to realize that you have to be a resource to your community. So in order to actually do that, content is needed, and also the speed of your website is important. So all of this is done by us. The content itself, we just do the encouraging. We want the entrepreneurs to create their own content. In the future, we will offer content creation, but we want them to understand how to gain organic traffic, and that is aligned with the algorithms that Google has and the other search engines. Whereas content is king. So the more content you have, then the more frequent your content is out there, the better. So all of that wrapped into one is why you'll see going to Stride, moving with Stride is probably your best option.
Awesome. Well, I know that we have a question from Ryan about the service that you provide, and then we're going to switch gears a little bit and talk more about your business model itself. But let's cover Ryan's question next, and then we'll get into the business model for Inventive Labs.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Oh yeah, hey Darryl. So I guess my question is, what would you tell a small business owner if they're leaning towards something like a Shopify or Wix? I guess the reason why I ask is, I've been down this road a couple times. We've had a couple small businesses where we used a web developer with this big elaborate website that took 4 months or 4 to 6 months. It's like by the time 6 months for a new company, one that impacts them. I love the idea that you're talking about speed, because by the time we finished a 6-month website develop, our resources were already super slim, because that's a lot of time. And we were almost just burnt out of the process. We didn't even feel like doing it anymore. And then we've also done a WordPress type website where it was super simple. We got it up that same day, and we can instantly have a web presence. Now moving into a new business venture, reflecting on those past experiences, my thought process is like, oh gosh, I don't want to go back down that web developer route. When you have Shopify that has built-in e-commerce plugins, and it seems like it's super easy where you can just click and it's a template set up. You just type in your name, put in some plugins as you develop over time. From a consumer's standpoint, it seems so intuitive. What would you tell business owners, I guess, if they're leaning towards that route?
Yeah, so I don't think Shopify is a bad idea. I actually think Shopify has a lot of great features to it. And actually WordPress has some in you can basically connect WordPress to Shopify in a lot of different ways. One, using WooCommerce, but I think mainly what we're trying to do is take the worry and the grunt work and the time, that it takes to actually develop a website, and the actual focus that it takes to do it, and handle it to professionals, so that, like I was saying, you can focus directly on how your business functions, and then we can work together to merge how your business functions, your business operations with your website, which is on a continuous basis. Now, I don't know how much you work for, like, per hour, but if you're working on a website, I don't know how much you're paying yourself to do that, whereas if you pay us, you know, the $80, or in your case, if you're talking about a Shopify or e-commerce type of website, it'll be like $120 per month. It's $120 per month. The first month you'll have your website up and running efficiently with the correct speeds and the correct keywords that it needs in order to generate organic traffic. Thus, also another feature that WordPress has is the blogging. So, like I was saying, the content that's required to actually to create a sustaining community around the product. WordPress actually gives you a lot of different things that will facilitate a great user engagement, and just the ease of use when it comes to the entrepreneur, well, the business owner on the back end perspective, and also how the users engage the website on the front end.
Cool.
Awesome.
Pretty
Thanks
much
for
answered my
that.
question.
Yeah, was there any follow-up on that, Ryan? Are you good?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Just one follow-up I had on Ryan's question. Can you give us an idea, Darryl, of how long it takes from like meeting number one to there's a site that's up and running and looks pretty good?
Yeah. So funny story. So I have a client that's actually a marketing company. So he also offers websites. We've been friends for a long time, but he finally, I've been telling him about Strive for a long time. He finally jumped on. So I had him fill out the form. Once he filled out the form, it takes about 10 to 15 minutes focus time to fill out the form. Once that's done, it goes directly to our developers. And like I said, they start the design. And within 2 weeks, he had his website up, and he was shocked. So it's basically because we were taking his content from his current site and just moving it on and basically refreshing his site. It took that long. Sometimes it takes longer, but it's the sheer speed and how we can move. Like Ryan was saying, it's very important. It like 1 month is a big difference from 6 months, especially when you're thinking about like actually driving traffic and getting sales and actually using your website as a tool for that type of like transaction. So
Yeah, definitely. All right, cool. I think John Marin had the next question. John, I think you had a question about specific industries.
Yeah, I had two. One of them is more along the lines of like a hurdle right now for the business. Is it more? I know you talked about communication earlier, but this is sales. Are you like, oh no, we're great on sales. Sales is going as exactly as planned, or we actually need to increase our sales beyond what we're currently doing, because part of the reason I ask is Even that feature that you mentioned where you were like, hey, you know, you can point out a button or something and just like say you want this edited in the system and like tell us to do it as opposed to do it yourself necessarily. Anyway, but is sales something that you all are, you know, that's a big focus right now, or are you like, oh no, it's going exactly as planned and we're good on sales?
Oh no, sales is always a focus. Definitely, sales is always a focus, and also, you know, we're just trying to make sure that we can spread the wealth or spread the benefits of it. So, like even companies like you know, it would be great to sit down and talk about how we can actually partner up. So.
Yeah, I would. I'd love to talk after this. But one of the things that I was thinking is because when I'm looking at your site, I've been multitasking. I've been perusing the site, and I look at things like that feature that you told me about. Like if there was a video right in the site, because you know this, right? You're in an industry that's very it's very busy. There's a lot of companies that offer web design, web development, have monthly plans and packages. And there's local businesses that do it that you're competing with. And then there's like the behemoths like the Haibu's and the Dex or now Thrive and stuff like that, which are, you know, large national groups. And being able to just highlight some of the like the ease and even just put it maybe in like an animation that I think would potentially go a long way to go, oh, you know, if I'm a small business owner coming in and looking at the site saying, oh, I see right away like how easy this is, or I can get a sense for the process in like a minute video or something like that. But there's just some little differentiators that for me, if I was looking and I was a small business owner, I'd go, oh, those other companies aren't talking about that. This immediately stands out as like a check in the box that I haven't seen somewhere else.
Yeah, awesome. That's some great feedback. You know, that we are actually working on an explainer video of how it works. But as you were talking, I was thinking about how we could actually we can create a demo page so that people can go and then just start to engage directly so they can experience how it works and feels.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
Let them play.
exactly.
So,
and then sorry, the other piece was around industries. Is there one where you go, oh, we know that there's a lot of competition out here, so there are a few specific like sectors like e-commerce maybe or service industry businesses or whatever the case is where we go, our system is really optimized for this and it uniquely helps them solve a problem that is normally like a big hassle with maybe a bunch of other agencies or providers. Is there kind of like a group or cluster of industries where you go, oh, those businesses, you know, they're like, what a relief when they come to us?
Yeah. So far, just from our experience, it's working really well in the marketing industry. So a lot of companies that are already dealing with other companies and are looking for solutions for their own customers. It seems like that's becoming a trend. Um, but as far as like a niche or a specific industry that we're like jumping into or looking at, we're still testing the industries, and we're still trying to tweak our message to see, you know, which industry we are actually appealing to. So it's still, we're still in the early stages of you know, getting the ball well, we already have the ball rolling, but we're in the early stages. So, you know, we're open to whatever industry that we might appeal to, but mostly the small businesses that, you know, that do not have $3,000 for a website, you know. And I think also, you know, the biggest benefit for the small businesses is the fact that now, although you did not have $3,000, but you have your $80 a month, you can now compete with these large companies, you know. And you know, so that's the main reason why we even call called the company Stride, is because you literally, when you're striding, you're moving very efficiently, and you're moving fast. So, you know, you look at a cheetah or a leopard running, it's when they hit that stride is when they're using the least amount of energy and getting the farthest, fastest. So
Darryl, let me kind of give another perspective on this, because we've been talking a lot about what you provide for clients, right? Which is great, so that everyone understands it. But I also want to talk a little bit about your business model itself, right? So you're seeing this opportunity out there, a problem that people are having, which essentially is it's like a barrier to their business growth, right? Because of this upfront cash investment that's required to have a good website that's optimized in terms of security and speed and search engine rankings and so forth. And so you're saying, hey, we can
you're muted, Dale.
provide invincible about that. Maybe that was an indication at this point was not that good.
No, continue, please.
So you're seeing this challenge that's out there in the industry, right? About the kind of barrier to having a web presence. And you're saying, essentially, we can provide you a lower cost solution so that that barrier is no longer an issue for you, Mr. and Ms. Small Business Owner, and we can get that site up and running quickly, right? So that's essentially the value proposition you're putting on the table. And so if I think about that from a big picture perspective, it's almost a commoditization play, right? Where you're saying, if we were to really scale up Stride plans, we would be able to get a lot of people into this system and up and running much more quickly, more efficiently, and it would make sense for you and Alicia and your company to do that for a huge number of small businesses, because it's not so tailored, customized that it's a high cost per client, right? So it's more commoditized. So I'm just wondering, have you given any thought to what that type of scale up would look like, in terms of, are there automation techniques or things that you can do inside your business to be able to go from, a few dozen clients to a few hundred clients to a few thousand clients?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. We actually started with that type of mindset. We started there, but we worked back to figure out how we can actually accomplish that. So a lot of what you're saying, the automation, especially when it comes to web development, is communication. Like I was saying. So if you can say it in a way that's understood, then if we can limit one back and forth from the back and forth, then at least 1% of your experience can be better, and at least 1% of the overall impact can be better. So I'm sorry, I lost my thought.
No, that's okay. Because let me just say, because it feels like there's a workflow that you have in your company, right? So there's different touch points with different clients, and what you're doing is you're creating ways in which you have more efficiency in the process. So it's not as heavy in terms of time investment for consultation. It's more, fill out this form, we'll get you running, right? Yep. So it's things like that. And that's really interesting, right? Because what that means is that you could conceivably bring in other designers, developers to take those inputs from clients, in mass and churn out websites
Yes.
which were meeting the need in a cost competitive way.
Yes. And I'm priming my nephew to be one of those developers, so the process is definitely key, and really does take, like you were saying, the form to be filled out, and that information goes direct. You got to ask the right questions. So a lot of our experience allows us to ask the right questions at the front, at the beginning. And then those questions go directly to the developers, which may be my nephew in the future, which then he can get it and then can start from there, versus having to sit down, having a consultation. I used to sit down and have hour-long conversations about about your website. We used to start with like your business and all this other stuff, which then a lot of times, well, sometimes the clients will be take them a while to get to it. Then I tell them the price, and then so this is great for us as well, and this will be great for people who own tech companies as well, because it eliminates the time that it actually takes to do the conversation conversation piece, but it just creates a fluidity in exchange from thought to an actual end product. So as far as being optimized, from, like I was explaining, the software that you're able to engage and the initial form, and then it's as simple as sending an email to developers at striveplans.com, and you'll get what you're requesting. So it's very simple, but it took a lot of understanding to simplify it and to actually make it work, especially with our partners as well.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So there's two other opportunities that come to mind as I think about that efficiency and that speed that you're developing through automation in terms of the client experience. And so one would be, have you thought about, if you had that 100% clean and it worked super efficiently, there was minimal interaction between you and the client, so you got it down from, let's say, 12 consultative hours down to, I don't know, let's say an hour or a half an hour, whatever it is. Have you thought about licensing that, or working with other agencies that wanted to provide that sort of web design solution as an entry point for their prospects? Have you thought about partnering with other agencies that way?
Yeah, definitely. That is definitely on the table. Also, we have an affiliate program for people who know other people who need website services. But yeah, like I was saying, I really want to build this community. So you have these tech companies who are already servicing clients, and who are already looking for ways to make what they're doing more cost effective, and just being able to hand over the heavy lifting, especially for needy clients, is a breath of fresh air for a lot of tech companies, especially us, because we're speaking from experience. So if we can go from sitting down and having these consultations to not much, and just relying on our developers to do their job, but also having the meetings that we need to make sure everyone is on point. It will go from me talking directly to the client, getting them familiar, to there being a network of people, because ultimately we would like to develop a better society, and we're using web development to do that, because we see it as a big challenge for a lot of people.
Yeah, well, I think so. I mean, I think the your whole focus on speed to market and about, breaking down that cost barrier so people are able to just get an entry point and a foothold with an online presence is pretty significant. So I know before we run out of time, there's another question that Ryan had. So let's get that question. And then there's a few public service announcements I have to make, or else I get in trouble with Ian.
Be
Go
easy
ahead,
on
Ryan.
me.
Hey, sorry to pull you out of that line of thought that you were talking about, Dale, kind of going back to your actual business kind of model, not so much model, but so have you considered like sales funding versus payment plans? Because I remember you, as you're talking about it, it was coming up when I was doing the website design. And I still feel like there is that separation from maybe the final product that you guys offer and the expectations that business owners sometimes are looking for. So you offer the product to serve, or your product is the website, your service is the maintenance. But I think sometimes from a business owner's point of view, it's about sales. And like it was brought up before, is the conversion. I guess when it comes to differentiation between the other web developers, what do you plan on doing in the future to be able to say, hey, my services were maybe a direct cause of this sale? And maybe do you have a model to maybe capture some of that sale through, rather than charging, a monthly fee, maybe you're capturing on that sale that you were able to convert? Because at the end of the day, I think that's what most business owners want is, okay, did this traffic generate a sale or a customer for the business? And how can I reward you for bringing that to me besides just building the website? Was there any kind of thought behind any of that?
That's an interesting way to think about it. I think that that's something that could be delved into deeper for sure, because if we could in real time get sales and then recoup our actual production costs with the sale, that makes sense in theory. The biggest thing I would think is I can see is the cost that the developers have to actually build the website. But what I do see is in the future, maybe that there can be a component that can be added on to, whereas maybe some of the actual monthly fee can be taken off based off of sales that can be brought. But I think that in the future, well, I know that in the future, what we plan to do is offer content creation. And when we talk about sales, we also have to talk about the value that we're bringing to your end user. And most of the time, it's about the information. How do I know that you are where I need to go? So a lot of the times people are researching, how do I get rid of my pimple, or how do I get sales to my website, or how do I plan, it's the questions that actually leads people to the website. So in the future, we are going to actually start to offer the content creation, so then we can go through the whole process of like the keywords, the power of each keyword, which keywords are best to use, how we can use, also we would like to add on graphic designers. So, things like infographics can be created because they're huge in SEO. So we really want to create like an environment for the entrepreneur to win, and the right tools and understanding as to what it will actually take to do it. And it's not an overnight thing, but if you start today, then when you look up, eventually you'll have like organic traffic just going to your website, with little to no real effort, other than just making sure that the website is still up to date and the content is is frequent. So yeah, the education is huge when it comes to actually for the entrepreneur who's trying to get sales, and also for the end customer. So.
Well, Darryl, thanks so much for all the insight in terms of what you're doing. I love the fact that this is reducing barriers for, I think I think all that is great. So thank you for all your time and insight today. Thanks to everyone for all the input for Darryl in terms of communicating the service, but also in terms of thinking through his business model a little bit. I'm just going to go through a few of the startup community events happening around Richmond. Some of these now are getting back to in person, and so those might be helpful for you. I know Ian has already put his email address in the chat window. So if we go through them too quickly and you want to get the slides, feel free to email Ian and he'll be sure to get these over to you. So on Thursday, the Network Incubator, if you don't know Ayana McMullen, I'm a big fan of Ayana's. So she's going to have a session coming up, which is going to be tomorrow at 9. After that, we also have Chamber RVA. They're going to do a session, looks like on Wednesday, July 14th, on difficult conversations about race. And so in the workplace. So that's a part of their Helping Young Professionals series. And so that's going to be 5:30 on July 14th. The next one is the ribbon cutting for Metro Business League. So they're going to be doing a ribbon cutting on Friday the 9th. That's at 11 in the morning. Startup Virginia is going to have a session with Venture South on how to pitch. So this is, I presume, pitching to potential investors. And so looks like they're going to be doing it at 2 lunchtime slots at 12 p.m. on the 9th and on the 23rd. Also, SCORE is going to have a session on how to start your own business. So that is going to be 6:30 to 8:30 on July 22nd. So that's a very good workshop series. I've been a part of those sessions in the past. Really, really good information for someone who's just kind of dabbling and thinking if they should take a hobby and create a business from it. And so that's it in terms of all of the slides. And I just wanted to thank Darryl again. I know Darryl, people can connect with you through strideplans.com. And I know you've also put your number in the chat window. So thanks so much to everyone for that. Feel free to reach out to Darryl or to Ian, and we'll be back next week.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Dale. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Darryl. Have a good rest of the week, everyone.